Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first meeting of our town's 150th year, the reorganization meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Wappinger. With that, may the clerk please call the roll.
Councilman Beal? Here. Councilwoman Bettino?
Here.
Councilman Phillips? Here. Councilman Casella?
Here.
Supervisor Cappuccino?
Here. In just a moment, I'll ask everyone to join us in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. That will be followed by an invocation led by Pastor Bobby Hargraves from Calvary Chapel of the Hudson Valley. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, we turn to you this night to bless and to guide our town board meeting. May you bestow your perfect wisdom and grace and strength over each member as they address the needs and responsibilities for this coming year. Please, Father, give them insight, especially over the areas of weather, roads, buildings, law enforcement, schools, fire safety. Help them in keeping our town safe and secure, especially in light of all this devastation we've been watching on the West Coast, Lord. We just pray for those families and people, Lord, that have lost homes and buildings and offices. But Father, in light of what you've done for our town, Lord, 150 years of faithful care, blessing, provision, safety over our town, we thank you, Lord. So, Father, I just pray again, bless these, your servants tonight, who you have put in office for a time such as this. We ask this in the name of the great God and Savior of our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Thank you, Pastor. With that, do I have a motion to discuss the adoption of the agenda?
I'll make the motion to discuss.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. I believe that there were a few changes from consent to non-consent that...
Yes,
the board wishes to
resolution number 9, 13, and 25. We want to move from consent to non-consent.
13 and 25.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor to adopt the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The agenda has been adopted. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the minutes from the December 16th, 2024 Town Board meeting?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Do I have a motion to open the public portion of the meeting?
Make that motion.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Folks, at this time, residents, we ask that you come up and speak to agenda items and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. And
Happy New Year.
good luck
Happy
to all.
New
Good
Year,
luck to
Grace.
all of us for 2025. I'd like to talk about one of the items on the agenda, and that's Resolution 2025-1, resolution accepting the resignation of a town employee. When I read through the package, this town employee happens to be our current comptroller, Jessica Servitico. It says that in that resolution. First of all, I want to, my interactions with Jessica have always been good. She recognized through the budget meetings that I was a strong advocate for the seniors, and she always stayed professional in those discussions with me. And I really find that very happy for that. I'm saddened that she's leaving because, and again, this is my opinion, She was clearly understandable when she stood up in front of you as a board, whether I watched it here or I watched it from home. And just so you are aware that there's several seniors in the senior center that also felt the same way, that when they tuned in, they understood that she was very understandable. May not understood finances like I did, but they said she was understandable and always very professional. Again, in my opinion, she hit the ground running. One of the first things she did that it was actually within the first 100 days that I saw it, she actually did things that basically anybody would do. She went for the best bank, and she went for the best bank that gave us interest. So somehow just in that work, again, from my viewpoint, I believe she was getting us $60,000 a month. So therefore, once again, I was able to get more money for the seniors. I know, like most people, only being in the job for 1 year, because I also changed jobs several times in the professions I was in, she probably didn't get all her work done, and there's probably a lot more to do. So I wish best of luck to whoever her person who succeeds her is. And one last thing, again, I wish her luck in all her future endeavors, and she also owes me running a 5K race, and I hope that, Jessica, if you're watching from home, I hope it is for the Wappinger race. That's usually the end of April in honoring our vets. So, Jessica, get your shoes ready. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Martin. By way of background, too, folks, obviously there is a resolution that our town comptroller is leaving us. She's moving on to a great opportunity, which we cannot fault her for. But truly, I am heartbroken. You know, she was a tremendous asset to this team, really hit the ground running, as Mrs. Martin had noted, and truly helped this town straighten out our financial condition as well. So forever grateful and indebted to Jessica Servideo for all of her work that she did for us last year. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close the public
I'll move
portion? Second. Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Beal. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, folks. In 2023, representatives from the Wappingers Falls Mobile Home Park on New Hackensack Road had approached the town board prior to my taking office. Throughout 2024, it is my understanding that the owner of that mobile home park has been working diligently with our professionals to connect to the United Wappinger Water District, following the board at that time their conceptual blessing to move forward with that connection. With that, I had asked Engineer Podgy and Christian to come forward and provide an update, as well as Mike Tremper from Camo Pollution to provide the town board, as well as the residents, an update as to where we stand with this district connection.
So I'm going to ask Christian to come up and give that overview, just as a little bit of further clarification. Our firm was hired by Wappingers Falls Mobile Home Park before we were retained by the town, so we will recuse ourselves from any representation of the town for this project. We'll continue to represent the project as its professional design engineers. As much as I would love the opportunity to grill the applicant on this, I will remain silent.
And I believe, and I'm sure you would, Mr. Podgy, but I believe we've also selected one of our consultants from our conflict list, Barton and Lugitas, to do the review.
And we've been in contact with them, and pending the decision of the board tonight whether to move forward with this, we will make sure that all the appropriate information gets relayed to them. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Podgy?
Thank you. For the record, I'll give him the opportunity to grill me later.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, this is not a common situation. I just took a photo because I'll make sure you have this to treasure for this moment where you're there on behalf of the applicant and you're staying silent, so.
For once. But just to recap what Supervisor Cavazzini mentioned, yes, we were here conceptually with the prior administration where we got the process moving. The mobile home park's water supply is dealing with contamination issues, both with water quality and also water quantity issues too, most recently. So the health department has agreed that the best solution would be to tie into the town's the town's water supply, which terminates on New Hackensack Road about 150 to 250 feet away. So we're just adjacent to the district there. The property is actually adjacent to one of the town's wastewater treatment facilities, which does get served currently by the town water district. So what's being proposed is a district extension to include the mobile home park property in the Wappingers United Water District. And as part of that, extending the physical water line, it's an 8-inch water line to cross New Hackensack Road and up New Hackensack Road towards the mobile home park, which would include crossing a stream. So we've been, this past year, working with both the DEC and the DOH to put the relevant plans together. They've since been approved by the health department. Their technical review, all that's needed is just demonstration that we have the town's blessing to tie in. So we've also been, like you mentioned, working with the town and the town's legal counsel to determine the best approach for that. So what we have proposed is a draft map planner report to extend the district to address this issue and get them connected. The most recently, I just want to bring up to the board's attention that, I mean, I know that these types of things don't happen overnight. Obviously, this process has started well over 1.5 years ago, but the current situation with the mobile home park's water supply is it's deteriorating pretty rapidly, their water quality and water quantity. Over the past 2 weeks, we were having discussions with the health department and also KMO about a potential emergency connection due to recent testing and water quantity issues that they were having. It was getting to the point where the situation was so dire they were considering bringing in tanker trucks to serve the residents there. So we initiated conversations with the town to amend our request for this evening for the board to consider an emergency connection of an above-ground pipe connection to the town's sewer facility right next door. In the past 72 hours or so, they've been able to manage to get their system under control a bit and kind of limp by, because I think it's recognized by everybody that a formal connection process, a formal approval, a district extension, and installing the permanent connection, meaning the buried 8-inch main crossing the stream and getting it onto the property is the right way to do this instead of the emergency connection if we can get away with it. So I've had conversations with the health department. We're working with county DPW also, and the health department is actually helping by speaking on the park's behalf, requesting some leeway with the ability to work in the winter months, which is typically not permitted on county roads. So we believe we're getting everybody on the same page and pulling this in the right direction. And that kind of brings us to, like I said today, where we're not asking for an emergency connection, but we're asking for this to be considered with the knowledge that this really is an emergency, and we're hoping that it can proceed in that manner. So we've prepared the map planning report. We're prepared to work with Barton and LeJudas to get that in the final form to the satisfaction of the board and their engineering team. And I know that the health department kind of stands ready for whatever the board needs. If they need a letter of support or anything, they've already expressed to me that they'd be happy to provide that. So,
Fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Paggi. I'm pretty well versed in the subject. Or any other members of the town board?
I'd like to know if Mr. Paggi has any questions for Mr. Paggi.
Has the town's water operator been involved in this process?
Thoroughly.
where'd Mike go?
Right there.
He is.
Front row. Thoroughly.
I don't know if I want to answer for him. He came all this way, so.
This is true.
Working closely with KMO and Tremper, yeah.
Is there one meter into the place only, and that's what we're going to have? Are you going to have individual meters? How are you going to do that, Mike?
So
Mike, do you mind coming up to
the,
the
I
podium?
don't go wherever.
Thank you.
Mike, you need a mic.
Yeah.
So when we were here back in '23, you know, the intent, the town's benefit of this project was to extend the water main down New Hackensack Road for whatever residents may need it. The crossing of this stream is a huge deal for the town. It seems like a small thing, but it's a big improvement that if we ever want to hook on, the reason the water line stopped where it did was because of the stream. So these guys are going to go under the stream, they're going to bring it down. The installation includes a master meter for the entire trailer park or mobile home park, and that's a big, you know, that meter will meet the town specifications and will be all part of what we have installed at other locations.
So this is a commercial hookup rather than a residential hookup?
I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know how you would determine whether it's residential homes.
Right.
It's domestic homes, but the meter will be like the same one you have at White Gates, Pavilion, I hate to bring it up, the Preserve, those type of meters where not only will record minimal flow, like less than a half a gallon a minute, but it'll allow to pass hundreds of gallons a minute in case there is a fire.
So that leads me, so obviously they're rented pads or are they owned?
I believe we have a representative.
Rent.
Rented.
So that's why it's one unit and whatever. So to Mike Liguori, this is a large commercial,
Yeah, I was going to say at the corner of Pine Lane and Montfort Road, it's a similar setup.
yeah, so we just went through this, as you know, you worked on it for us, and it was a disaster. So my concern is what kind of buy-in is typically on something like this?
So your code says residential parcels that contain single-family residences with no more than 4 bedrooms are allocated 320 gallons a day and have a buy-in of 3,200.
Right. So, but this is more than one unit.
Yeah, it would be considered commercial.
Right, so what about, it's a unique hookup, right?
Yeah, and I think when we talked about this back in '23, to offset the buy-in fee was the cost to run the pipe that was a benefit to the town. I'm not sure of the economics.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm
Someone
thrilled with that.
better than me, but that was the intent, was the cost to run this pipe and go under the stream and then up New Hackensack Road was going to offset the buy-in fee, because they actually have a metered usage here. I think their metered usage is like 8 to 10,000 gallons a day. So if you use the buy-in fee of 1,500, 15 gallons, it was going to be around 120 or 130,000 gallons. The cost to run this pipe will exceed that considerably. Now, that was the intent when we talked in 2023. I don't know if anything has changed since then.
Consistent with 200 gallons a day.
And Mr. Rawls also owns the mobile home park on the end of Pie Lane, and the same situation arose there. We have a similar meter there. Keep in mind, we're not going to send out individual meters to each mobile
Right.
home. We send one to you, and then he pays it.
The difference between here, this and the Preserve, is the Preserve had a stub at their property.
Right.
There was no improvements. Everything that they built was for their benefit. Before these guys can connect, the town will have had installed that, you know, a value of water main. I think the map planning report stated the value of that.
It was around $150,000 of improvements that the town would be.
And this water main would be able to be connected by other parcels along?
Absolutely.
Again, I still have reservations, as I expressed when we had met, and I had expressed to the town board, that we should still be collecting a buy-in fee. That is my position. The idea is anyone entering into the district is buying into the infrastructure that has been put in place for the past 60 years or so. So to be fair to the rest of the residents of the United Wappinger Water District, I would argue that that should be considered. But again, I would defer to my colleagues on the board.
What's the total buy-in, total, all in?
Let me just, so I wasn't looking at multifamily as commercial. Under the multifamily section, it says for studio apartments, it's going to depend on the bedroom count for these units. That's really what it comes down to. For
How
a
many
studio
bedrooms?
or one bedroom
2 and 3 bedrooms.
per?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no more than 3 bedrooms, none of them are 1 bedroom, so between 2 and 3.
Okay, so for 2 bedrooms, it's 2,000 and 3 or more,
3,200
yeah, 3,200.
That's per unit?
per unit.
Per mobile home.
Per home,
50 units, so that's 150,000?
potentially.
So that's where is that where this potential wash was with respect to the extending of the infrastructure versus the all-in buy-in
That's
fee?
correct.
So you're asking for a $175,000 bond. Is that the offset to the $150,000 you're talking about?
Well, the $175,000 bond was being floated if there was going to be an emergency connection to make sure
Okay.
that the town got the improvements that are being promised.
Okay.
So you don't get in a position where you're wondering if, the emergency connection is ever going to be disconnected and the permanent connection is ever going to be installed. Since the emergency connection is currently not on the front burner, that we're trying to just get the permanent connection expedited, then, there really should be no need for a bond at this point in time, because everything will be constructed and turned over to the town completed. All these discussions, the only thing I'd like to suggest is all these discussions about buy-in fee don't have to be concluded tonight.
No.
I would think that once this information gets sent to your engineer, to B&L Engineering, with that map plan and report in particular that outlines everything, discussions can happen between you, them, and the applicant, and as far as the negotiation of whether or not you agree that the amount of benefit to the town is equivalent to the buy-in, or whether there should be some supplemental buy-in. So the primary goal tonight is to get this moving as quickly as possible so that those balls start to move, and we can try to get this thing installed so there is no need for an emergency connection, because I don't think anybody wants to go there.
No.
We're being proactive.
Yes, we are.
Where does the water terminate right now? The water line, the existing?
Bill, right across from the sewage treatment facility, right on the northern side of the drainage swale, or drainage ditch or stream that comes through the development.
There's a fire hydrant
There's a
right
fire
there.
hydrant. That fire hydrant that you see is going to be the end of the water main. And the reason it stops there is when they brought the water main down, the cost to go under the stream and farther down was very expensive.
Are you going to cross New Hackensack there and then run down?
Yes.
Yes,
Under the ground.
The plan is
Yeah,
under
yeah.
the
Under the
stream
road.
and then down on the mobile home side of the road.
So where is that with respect to the property line for the mobile home community?
Would you like to point that out, maybe?
Is that just,
Mike?
I'm just looking
Can I come up and look?
yeah, I'm just looking at parcel access. I just want to get an idea how much infrastructure is going in that could benefit the public. You know what I'm saying? So looking at this right here, look. So this is New Hackensack Road, right?
Right.
Cindy, right? This is the mobile home
Right.
community?
So the water, he's going to run the water main down to about here.
Right, so this is the stream you're talking about?
Right, so he's going to run on the other side of the stream, right to the corner of the property
Okay,
there. And
so-
that's where the meter vault or meter is going to go.
Where is the current last hydrant right now?
Where's the sewage treatment plant? Right here?
Yeah.
Right about here.
Which side of the road is it on? The north
It's
side?
It's on, I'll call it the east side, because I think the road goes north and south, but I'm not.
On the south side.
I'm not Magellan.
So how are we getting it from, so we're getting, are they boring under? Is
They're
that
going to
what-
bore
okay,
under
they're
and then
boring.
under the stream.
All right, so is it feasible to put another fire hydrant at the end of this?
I think that's part of the plan.
That's part of the plan.
That's part of the plan. That's
So,
what we asked
you know,
for.
I'm totally supportive of this initiative. I do think we need to have further discussions with respect to buy-in versus what the investment by the property owner is that's going to benefit the public. So I think we need to have that conversation. We're not going to be able to do that right here, but I want to see this move forward, and I don't want to delay it.
And Councilman, I think the big thing was, again, the benefit to the other parcels moving down New Hackensack Road as well,
Certainly, yeah.
as the 50 homes that reside currently in that mobile home park there. So if,
Yeah.
Councilman Phillips, I believe you were going to mention
If
something?
Mike could just look and make sure when we do an in-kind trade, whatever, however you want to call it, that we're covered, because we don't have a great track record on this kind of stuff.
Well, again, a lot of those issues that had started were previous
I
attorney,
know.
previous engineer.
I just, he'll probably write up the contract, so I just, however, if that's what we have to do, then so be it. If the in-kind improvement for the town is in lieu of
Yeah.
a buy-in, then as long as we do it the right way so we don't get bitten.
Right, because I also don't want to inadvertently create a precedent where individuals will not entertain furthering public infrastructure, right?
Correct.
I think the idea here is, in this case at least, New Hackensack Road, right, there have been impediments to us extending this water. And for many years, we have discussed how can we get a private interest to extend our public infrastructure and make it available to the public, right? Because, as folks may or may not know, it costs us significantly more to invest in public infrastructure as a government versus a private sector investment, right? So in this case, there is tangible benefit just looking at this right now, where not only does it extend it past the swale and the stream and bores it under New Hackensack Road, but it also gives an opportunity for these downfield, or whichever direction we consider it, right, properties to connect. And I know that there are some, I know for a fact there are some of these properties that would be interested in having a conversation if the water was closer to them.
And I think that, again, when we talked about this previously, one of the examples would be, just for clarity's sake, we're not going completely, he's not going completely under the stream, he's going by the stream, and there's a differential between the top of the pipe and the road that he's going to utilize. But one of the examples is, we took when Toll Brothers ran the water line so we could utilize the Meadowwood well field, that was in lieu of a buy-in fee.
Right.
Not in lieu of, but an offset of buy-in fee, and that was an example that was utilized that night we discussed this before.
Yeah.
So they ran a water main from the Meadowwood well field down to White's Corners Road.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was in lieu of a offset of buy-in fee.
Yeah, as long as we can, as the councilman from the 3rd Ward said, as long as we can determine a formula that is not arbitrary, right? I think that I would want to have further discussion about that.
And Mike, could you, much like you did down by Carnworth, when they did that line, you put in tie-in valves where people would tie in. Is that a possibility?
Well, you would have to look and see who was gonna hook in, and it
Get
could
your
be a
magic ball out
possibility. We
and,
would have to look at that. You'd have to need the engineer to look at who across the river, who across the road would wanna hook in. And it would just be some taps on the ductile iron pipe, a nominal cost for rolls, but it could be a benefit for the homeowners.
Oh, yeah.
I would say that during this process, we should be, maybe surveying the surrounding property owners in that immediate area, see if there's any interest.
Absolutely.
Ahead of the game.
God forbid.
All right, are there any other questions from the town board? Seeing none, thank you very much, gentlemen. I believe that you do have, the support to move forward from the town board. Seeing no objections. And
No, anything we can do to stay away from temporary water connections.
yes,
And
what did we say when we met before? I cringed when I heard emergency water connection. We wanted to go about this the right
Yeah,
way.
and I
Not
don't-
even a tenancy, but an actual.
Yeah, I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback things we've done in the past, because at the moment, that was what we needed to do, right? But then as the months continue to go by and it gets cold outside, we get nervous. So if we can prevent that here, which I think we're going to do, that's a better approach.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you.
Mr. Liguori, what would we need to do to
Yeah, a few
facilitate
things
this?
I just wanted to touch on. didn't make it for Thursday's cutoff or Wednesday's cutoff, but I prior to the meeting, just prior to the meeting, I circulated a draft resolution for review, just to tackle a couple of issues that some formalities that need to be taken care of. The first is it would be appropriate to waive the conflict for Padgett Engineering to continue to represent the mobile home park while remaining as the town of Wappinger town engineer. And as everybody heard, he's not going to have two functions, just one, but there is a conflict there, and we'd be represented by Barton and LoJudas or another firm unless the board decided, some other way. And they would represent the town, so that resolution takes care of that one particular issue. Second relates to part of the process here. We have a letter request and a map plan and report. I couldn't locate the actual petition, but town law requires a formal petition to be signed by the landowner. So we don't have that, so we're going to ask the applicant for the actual formal petition. And I'll review that for compliance with the relevant sections of town law, and then also a short form EAF so we can perform seeker. And the next would be the referral to the town's consulting engineer for review. Once that's done, there's a public hearing that's required. And we're not there yet, but, just to have these steps laid out so that at the next meeting or the meeting after, we could, knock these off as soon as possible would be helpful. But as soon as I have the petition and as soon as we have a confirmation from Barton and LoJudas as their, as far as their review goes, we'll make the necessary referrals. I think we have a county referral here because of New Hackensack. With that, we could, move this along for the extension of the district. So for now, at whatever part of the agenda is appropriate to deal with that, we do have a draft resolution that would tackle the waiver of conflict and then the referral.
Mm-hmm. And that resolution was emailed to the town board. The town clerk does have a copy of it. I don't know if it's appropriate to make a motion on what you outlined now.
I think we just put it on new business.
Okay.
And then take care of it on the new business.
Okay, we can do that.
On the non-consent part of the agenda.
Of course, we'll add that to the end of the meeting.
So the one that comes out, though, based on the resolution that you
It's
have here,
number
right, item number 5 comes out?
That's right.
Okay.
I wasn't
That's for the emergency hookup, so item 5 comes out.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if anything changed between me
Okay.
writing this thing and driving to Wappinger. So
Nope. Thank you for covering the base.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. So
Okay, very good.
that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you, and for those, I hope you get the opportunity, there's a much better Podgy out there to work with.
No comment.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christian.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Christian.
Okay. Moving right along now to our consent agenda. Resolution 2025-1, resolution accepting resignation of a Town of Wappinger employee. Resolution 2025-2, resolution adopting the rules of the town board. Resolution 2025-3, resolution to adjust the Town of Wappinger mileage reimbursement rates for 2025. Resolution 2025-4, resolution establishing petty cash funds for various offices. Resolution 2025-5, resolution establishing the amount of undertakings to be furnished by officers, clerks, and employees. Resolution 2025-6, resolution designating various banks as the official depositories for the Town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-7, resolution designating official newspaper for the Town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-8, resolution designating an insurance agent for the Town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-10, resolution designating a budget officer for the Town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-11, resolution authorizing the submission of the supervisor's annual report to the state comptroller. Resolution 2025-12, resolution authorizing the use of a mechanical check signing device. Resolution 2025-14, resolution to authorize the town board, town highway superintendent, town supervisor to execute the agreement for the expenditure of highway monies. Resolution 2025-15, personnel time clock. Resolution 2025-16, resolution establishing salaries for elected officials in the town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-17, resolution establishing the pay scale for certain employees of the town of Wappinger covered under the union contract. Resolution 2025-18, resolution establishing pay scale for part-time town patrol personnel. Bless you.
Thank you.
Resolution 2025-19. Bless you.
Sorry, thank you.
It's okay. Resolution establishing remuneration for water meter readers in the town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-21, resolution employing bond counsel services for the calendar year 2025. Resolution 2025-22, sorry. Ooh. Resolution employing stormwater management consultant services for the calendar year 2025. Resolution 2025-23, resolution acknowledging appointment of confidential personal secretary to the town supervisor. Resolution 2025-24, resolution approving IT consultant contract. Resolution 2025-26, resolution appointing dog control officer for the town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-27, resolution appointing town historian for the town of Wappinger. Resolution 2025-28, resolution appointing secretary to the Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals. And finally, Resolution 2025-29, correspondence log. Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll move it.
Second.
On the question, before we vote,
Sure.
some very kind words were shared by Grace earlier. Jessica, I don't know if you were here yet to hear that. Maybe you did. But certainly, I just want to say on the record that you were nothing short of a rock star in your role here, and that's why we're losing you. We knew that when Jessica joined our team,
Yes.
That it could be short-lived based on her experience and based on her skill. As the supervisor said before, it's not our place to say where she's going, but I will tell you it's an excellent career move that you're making. So I certainly would vote no on this if I could, but they're all lumped together as one. Thank you for your service to our town.
Thanks. Thank you. And as I already announced on TV, I was heartbroken. But again, I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done, and thank you for your teamwork and your friendship and everything that you've done for our town. Thank you.
So I'm kind of selfishly disappointed because actually I was the one who interviewed Jessica and brought her into the town board. Outstanding job. Shame you're not staying a little bit longer. We wish you could, but you really cleaned a lot of things up and made things a lot better for the town. So we do appreciate all your hard work and effort. So thank you for everything you did. Again, kind of disappointed, but listen, congratulations on your new assignment. I wish you the best. I'm sure you'll do excellent. So again, good luck to you. Thank you.
I think the whole board wishes you the best of luck. And thank you for everything that you've done. And good luck.
Okay.
Okay.
Seeing no further discussion on the consent agenda, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The consent agenda has been passed. Moving right along to our non-consent agenda. Resolution 2025-30, resolution appointing certified public accountants to provide various accounting services and to audit the accounts and reports of the town supervisor, town clerk, and town justices. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella. I can tell you that I have been very satisfied with RBT, and they have done a fantastic job working with Jessica, myself, and our team, and cleaning up our books and getting us to where we are today. I do believe that there were some comments by some town board members that they would like to have a meeting with them to discuss some outstanding items.
Absolutely. Just like they presented to us in the past, and I'd like to have them do that again.
Absolutely. Okay.
The other comment I want to make, too, is I'd like to see them come in and finish up 2024 if there's any additional things that we need to close after our controller leaves. So again, I just want to make sure that we're all on board on that. We're clean. We're good to move forward. Again, I have no real issue with them, but again, I'd like to be able to speak to them and just understand where we stand today. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that later on tonight, which is good. But I think it's important. We need to make sure there's good communication, that the communication is spread to the entire board. In the past, it has not been. And we just want to make sure that, again, they get it to all the board members so that, again, we don't run into some of the same issues that we had in 22 and 23 that Jessica did a great job on cleaning up. So, again, that's why I like to speak to them.
I agree.
And just to clarify, that was in 2022 and 2023.
What's that?
The lack of clarification.
22 and 23.
Communication, yes. Thank you. Okay, so are you making a motion to table?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table it, unless, Chris, you want to.
That's fine.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-31, resolution appointing member to the Town of Wappinger Planning Board. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilman Casella,
Second.
second by Councilman Phillips. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-32, resolution appointing chairman of the Town of Wappinger Planning Board. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella.
Just
We
clarify
did-
this.
Yeah, we did receive a letter today from Bruce Flower seeking to be
Yeah.
reappointed as chairman of the Town of Wappinger Planning Board.
Yes.
All right, is there any further discussion?
No.
Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Resolution 2025-33, resolution appointing member to the Town of Wappinger Zoning Board of Appeals. Do I have a motion?
Move.
I'll second.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilwoman Bettina. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Resolution 2025-34, resolution appointing chairperson of the Town of Wappinger Zoning Board of Appeals.
I'll move. Name John
Second.
Lorenzini.
Yes.
Moved by Councilman Beal, second by Councilwoman Bettina. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Resolution 2025-35, resolution establishing pay scale for seasonal recreation department employees in the Town of Wappinger. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second by Councilman Phillips. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. Motion passes.
We're done.
Resolution 2025-9, resolution designating time and place for holding town board meetings for the calendar year 2025. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Councilman Casella, second.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Bettina for discussion. I believe, Councilman Casella, you had drafted a revised resolution.
Yes, so what I wanted to include is, in the resolution, we did not have the summer schedule that we typically had in the past, so I added a couple of dates. I sent it over to the town clerk. What we're proposing is, again, in July, we do one meeting. It would be the second Monday, which would be July 8th. August, it would also be the second Monday, which would be August 8th. And then we have a November and December schedule, which is November 10th. And in December would be December 8th. So I just want to get those included. As we stated in the resolution, though, at any point in time, if need be, we can call several meetings, as we did in November and December when we had various budget meetings, as well as ARPA meetings in December. So again, this is kind of just to give people, an opportunity if they want to schedule some vacation, things like that can. But again, if it's important town business, we'll make sure we're here and take care of business we need to. So again, no issues with doing that, but we want to just have the schedule in place so that everybody kind of knows.
Absolutely.
And also that the public knows. I mean, it's good information to see if there's something specific or a date.
Were there any Mondays that were holidays on this?
Yes.
Yeah, there was.
Yes, a few.
So what are we doing? We're going Tuesday?
So Veterans Day, what we did was, actually Veterans Day is,
Tuesday.
it's on the 10th, it's actually the 11th, so we're good with that, but it was actually Memorial Day where we had the issue, so we did move that. If you look at the schedule, we made sure that we did it the Tuesday after.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all covered.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we were.
Yeah, if you need I have a copy if you want to take a look.
I got it. I just got it right
Yeah.
here. No, I appreciate you taking the time to break it out. Sometimes we get, I don't know, you just get mixed up sometimes because some of the months have 5 weeks
Yeah.
and some have 4, right?
Good to have it out there.
So it's good that we have the whole thing laid out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Councilman, for itemizing each date. I would like to thank the town clerk's office for always doing that in the past when a town board member has asked for it, so now it's in the resolution.
And we're still starting at 7 PM so we can get out earlier?
Unless you'd like to start earlier.
Because that hasn't worked.
Unless you'd like to start earlier. Well, unless you'd like to start earlier.
I have no problem doing 7 o'clock. I would just say if we're going to have any meetings before 7 o'clock or earlier, that we make sure we have consensus, because I just want to see my kids for 1 hour, if I can, before I get here.
Understood.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, we had a motion and second on the amended resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Resolution 2025-13, resolution authorizing attendance at the 2025 Association of Towns meeting. Do I have a motion for discussion? Move. By Councilman Beal, second by Councilman Phillips for discussion. I believe that the town board wished to amend the planning board members from 1 member to 3 members of the planning board.
Correct.
From 1 member of the zoning board to 2 members of the zoning board, and then add the receiver of taxes who has historically attended.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion?
We just want to ensure that there's a continuity of government going on while we're
Yes.
attending this conference. Not every municipality, not every town in New York State has the ability to send people to this conference. And each year, we have been grateful that we have the ability to participate in this level of education. I firmly believe we bring back important information from this that we can only get at this, right? That said, we do have a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that we are maintaining accountability within our budget allocations. I believe this is broken into different categories of the budget, right?
Correct.
Right.
So I think collectively, we have come to a consensus on how to approach this and ensure that the town hall remains fully staffed and that we have a continuity of operation in place during this time period. And certainly, we're only an hour away. Honestly, if we had some reason to get back here, we could. But that said, we should be able to focus on our education while we're there and still have the confidence that the town hall is running smoothly. So I support this.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to thank the board for, considering this. Again, we initially did it, it was 1 person for the planning, 1 for zoning, and we did decide that really we need to send more people. But again, as Councilman Beal said, we're going to have coverage, so there'll be no issues with any kind of coverage in any of the offices, and that was the other thing we wanted to make sure of. So again, thank you to the board for supporting this.
Absolutely, and that's paramount. And again, there are many educational opportunities for our planning and zoning boards, and we've expressed that to both chairs and to the planning department as well, that we would encourage them to take PACE land use classes and Dutchess County Federation of Planning classes as well, which are local here. So definitely they will be taking advantage of those local classes.
Also, we have to make sure we are in consensus on who the delegate and the alternate delegate are going to be.
Oh, yes,
So
wait a
this
minute.
sometimes, this becomes
Wait, that's right, we want
a
to
point
change
of
that.
contention, because whoever typed up the resolution clearly felt that Chris Phillips was the most qualified to be the
He's not.
I argue he
delegate.
is.
I can argue he's not.
So I thank you for that.
So I think actually, because they also made me the delegate again for the second year, and we need to change that up a little bit. So I like to volunteer Joey as the delegate to the association, and that would be your, actually, Bill, you get the honors of being the delegate and taking the alternate delegate spot.
Good catch. Thank
So I'm the alternate, and for folks that don't understand what this is, and I've done this many times, it's time for Joey to experience the meeting that almost never ends, where they have a stack of resolutions that the association puts together. Many of them have never been adopted by the state of New York because they make too much sense. Like, you know, for example, speed limits on town roads is one that comes up every single year. Legal notices on your website versus newspapers, that never gets adopted by the state. But the association takes certain positions, and Joey needs to experience this, and I really hope it's a year where either Long Island or Western New York comes in with a stack of resolutions off the floor to make it 3 hours long. So I am the alternate. If you need me, I'll be in the back behind the red velvet ropes. I'm not allowed to be in front of those. So Joey, you get to experience this. I'll support the resolution as long as we have the unanimous consent on this now.
Of course.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Honored to represent the town of Wappinger in any capacity.
We've all had our turn.
We've all done
Yes,
this.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Any further discussion on the
He
amended?
thought we were going to skip. He thought we were
No,
going to
no,
forget.
I did.
Thank you.
I almost
So,
had it.
hold on, now I get to move an amended resolution, right?
Yeah.
Right, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to move the amended resolution, which stipulates to the previous amendment for the number of people attending, but also names the Honorable Joseph D. Cavassini as the delegate, and I guess me by the alternate. So I'll move with that
I'll
amendment.
definitely second that one.
Okay. On the full amended resolution, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill.
You got out of this one, Chris.
Almost had it. Okay. Resolution 2025-20, resolution establishing paid holidays. Do I have a motion for discussion?
Move.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilwoman Bettina. I believe that there was some discussion. Councilman Beal, you had mentioned.
Yeah, so we do have a number of holidays here that, let me just pull up the resolution. Give me 1 second here so I can, what number is it again?
20.
25, or,
It's on page 26.
all right, hang on. 26, of course, I don't have page numbers.
Here.
Everything's page 1 for me.
Here.
Oh, all right, so as folks may know, we have collective bargaining agreements that indicate certain holidays, and the two unions are different. The town hall floating holiday is agreed to and stipulated within the collective bargaining agreement by the Teamsters. The highway floating holiday is pending the vote by the CSEA union. Juneteenth is reflected on here because it's a federal holiday. However, it has not been negotiated at this particular time. My position is that we can't keep adding days off here. At one point, we had 14 holidays here. This reflects 16, but it's really 15 plus 1 because there's two different unions. So I think we need to table this. Obviously, we're going to still, we're still going to recognize Martin Luther King Day on January 20th, right? We're still going to recognize President's Day on February 17th.
I would argue, Councilman, that we are going to recognize the ones outlined in the collective bargaining agreement.
Oh, that's easier. That's easier.
Yeah.
So I'll amend the resolution to reflect the holidays that are currently reflected in the two collective bargaining agreements, right?
Until it can be.
Until there can be further negotiation. So at this particular time, the only holidays, which are the ones on this resolution less Juneteenth, are the ones that we can recognize. And, no disrespect intended for Juneteenth, but we need to in my opinion, we need to take a look at, okay, if we want to take Juneteenth off here in the town of Wappinger, then one of the floating holidays, in my opinion,
I agree.
needs to be a give back. But again, this is up to the unions to discuss, and there needs to be further discussion. We can't just keep adding holidays, because I'll tell you this. So I just found out that the schools are going to be off for the Lunar New Year this year, right? Right? It's a state law. So we're just going to keep adding holidays every year at this rate, and then next thing you know, we're going to have the town hall closed for, 19 days or something, right?
Exactly.
So I'm not against recognizing all these holidays that the state of New York recognizes. However, we do have an obligation to the residents to be open so they can do business when it's, not a holiday for everyone, right? So that said, I'm just going to make it simple and say, amend Resolution 2025-220 to reflect the current holidays that exist in the collective bargaining agreement for the CSEA and for Teamsters.
Absolutely.
Second.
And just to recap, the Town Hall Teamsters floating holiday will be December 26th. And then the Highway CSEA floating holiday, they opted to celebrate and recognize Pearl Harbor Day, and that will be December 7th. Okay?
All right, so
We
that
have a
one,
motion.
okay, that is right here.
Yeah. Yep. So we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much. The resolution has been adopted as amended. And our last non-consent resolution, Resolution 2025-25, resolution appointing supervisor of buildings and grounds. Do I have a motion for discussion?
I'll make the motion and make a motion that we discuss this in executive session as it is a personnel issue.
That was going to be my recommendation.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Phillips, second by Councilwoman Bettina to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. We do have the additional resolution that was emailed to us by Mr. Legori. If everyone does feel comfortable, and the town clerk does have that via email, I would make a motion to adopt the resolution as sent to us, minus point number 5.
Which one is this now? Oh, Wappingers Falls Mobile Home Park?
Yes.
Correct.
I see it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved by
Yeah.
Councilman Phillips, second by Councilman Casella.
Just
Any further?
on the question, yes. So
Yep.
what did you say, minus .5?
The last point.
Number 5.
Yeah.
So there's 5
It's
points
not
on
an
it?
emergency
It
connection.
deals with
The emergency hookup
I see.
anymore.
All right, so
Mike was covering our bases in case anything changed.
additional
Right.
provision if required for emergency connection. Right,
Right.
so we don't need that.
We
Okay,
do not.
I'll support this.
Right.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Will that
Motion
be-
passes.
Joe, will that be 36?
Yep.
That'll be resolution 36? Okay.
And again, folks, obviously that will be posted to the town website when Mr. Paoloni, completes his minutes. For items for special consideration and new business, I would like to note that Mr. Paoloni today hosted a bid opening that was following what this town board had asked our acting supervisor of buildings and grounds to go out to bid for HVAC for the Reese Cultural Center at Carnwath Farms. That was then posted on BidNet, as we do with all of our bid notices and projects. Once they meet that level in the procurement policy, that bid opening was today. The town clerk did send us the recommended and lowest bid, which was Air Masters, who has done work previously for the town, and they were one of 2 bidders out of 5 that went and expressed interest.
Who were the other 3?
I can get them to you.
Okay.
Yeah, share with the board who the other 3 were, please.
Okay. Would we like to entertain this tonight, since, again, this is a pressing issue that Councilwoman Bettina has mentioned before, to move forward with accepting this bid and getting this project moving forward?
I just have some questions with legal counsel about it.
Okay. So you would like to speak about it in executive session, I would
Correct.
imagine?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you would like to, okay. Okay. So that was new business. I do know that we have quite a bit to talk about in executive session in regards to personnel, potential contract negotiation. So I would ask for a motion to
Just,
go.
if I can just, one thing before we go to executive session, if that's okay with the board. So I did get an email here in real time from a resident of Pleasant Lane who is watching the meeting right now and has a valid question, right? So we talk about water connections, we talk about facilitating certain developments, whether it be an emergency connection or whether it not be. And the challenge we've always had with Pleasant Lane and Camellia Drive, which is right next to us here, is it's a limited number of dwellings, right, on those two streets. They are within the water district, however, they don't have access to the water. And for a capital expansion of the water district to occur to that limited number of residents or residences, the cost would be astronomical, right?
Absolutely.
So for the resident that is watching right now, the answer really is to create a situation where we have more parcels to benefit from that expansion, right? And in the case of this mobile home park, the owner of the park is investing the $150,000 to extend that water line, which for us to do would probably cost us close to $1 million based on prevailing wage, if not more, to do that. And then that cost would have to be extended, or I should say spread out over the number of parcels. So that, yes, that is the ongoing challenge that we have had in these small type developments. I have similar challenges on Fowler House, similar challenges on Card Road, South Fowler House, Peggy Lane, right? Similar issues, and it's not a simple solution when we have these small little pocket developments. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Councilman, this is something I had looked at last year, very in depth. You know, the folks over on Camellia and Pleasant, some of them have 10-foot deep wells. I mean, it's a significant issue. Thank God they have sewer, because if you had a septic tank right on top of these wells, you would have had a bigger health nightmare. I did engage the Village of Wappingers Falls in discussions about running water and what the feasibility would be to run water to this neighborhood, as village water infrastructure is closer to this neighborhood than the town infrastructure is. So again, talking about how cost prohibitive it would be for the town to run it, our infrastructure is nowhere near there. And that was a conversation that, again, was very cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
We were looking at coming through Evans Elementary School, because that is served by Village Water, and potentially coming through the old Stefanos. This way it comes right out there on Middlebush. It's something that I would argue that we still want to look at and should look at. I know that conversations kind of died off because no one knew where the actual village infrastructure is on the school property.
Right, yeah.
And that became a problem, and they didn't know the size of the pipe and the infrastructure there. So what I would say is, Councilman, if you could relay, and if they're watching right now, we'll continue to investigate that.
Yeah.
The village did have a period of time where they did not have a highway superintendent. Now they do, so we can definitely re-engage them and see if that is something that we can investigate further, see if those lines at the school district are large enough to even handle an expansion, because that would cut the cost significantly.
We'll be out there knocking on doors soon anyway, so we're going to have this conversation again. My only reservation with the village water system is then we're at the mercy of the village water rates, and I can tell you this.
We've talked about
that's a real challenge. My father's water bill goes in one direction only, right? And it is really an unsustainable situation, in my opinion. Speaking of unsustainable situations, it was December 9th where Central Hudson came here and spoke to us.
Yes.
I have had residents call me, text me, email me about the nightmare that they are facing. We have got to do more. There's got to be something we can do from a town government perspective. There's a person that lives in an 800 square foot apartment who just got a $367 Central Hudson bill. And they keep their heat at 68 degrees. Another one here, even smaller apartment, $250 higher than it was previously. This is an unsustainable situation. I've been bringing this up. I don't know what we can do. Central Hudson is basically explaining to us that it's the state of New York, the legislation that has been enacted since 2019 by the Democrats in Albany, and you heard me say it, is resulting in these unsustainable energy costs that people cannot afford. That is a fact. Elections do have consequences.
Yes, they do.
Continue to vote the way you vote at the state level, and this is what's going to happen. Who's going to stand up to this? The town of Wappinger needs to take more of a proactive stance on this. I want Assemblyman Bepan to come here. I want Senator Rollison to come here. I want the Public Service Commission to be aware of this, because how are individuals who live on fixed incomes going to be able to pay their electric and gas bills? My bill went from $250 a month 5 years ago, just before COVID, to $567 this month. When I sat here on December 9th and we talked to them, my budget billing had gone from $350 to $450. This is a direct result of the Democrats in Albany. It is a fact. They have voted for the 2019 legislation that resulted in this energy crisis we are facing in this town and other towns are facing.
Bill, I texted you 10 days after they came here. Do you remember? I texted you.
Yeah.
My bill for December, and it's myself and my wife, it's not like we have a family, was $658. $658, actual bill. I contacted AJ's office. I have to say, they called right away, just to confirm my bill was correct. And they had no answers, like you said. They said, oh, your bill's absolutely correct. I said, it's me and my wife. Imagine if I had 4 kids. I mean, you have children, you use way more water than I do. It's crazy.
The worst part about this is you can compare your energy use
Yes,
a year ago.
Yep.
And if you use less energy,
you're paying more.
you're paying more.
Yes.
You can change your appliances.
Delivery charge.
Right,
Doesn't matter.
to be energy efficient appliances and spend all the money to do that, and then replace all your light bulbs with the New York State required LED light bulbs, and you still are paying more. This is a crisis right now. Where are we going to be in a year, right? Double-digit increases on this are just unsustainable for folks. And I think about the senior citizens. Listen, I already work 6 jobs. I can work another one if I need to, right? But the point is, there's folks out there that don't have that option. And they still get these payments, or these bills that they have to pay. So my position as a town government is we need to use our power as a government and use some leverage here to get the attention of the state of New York, because there are quote-unquote circuit breakers in this legislation. The circuit breakers in this legislation can stop what is happening right now. Is it going to make the price go down? No, it's not going to make the price go down. But, you know, Central Hudson came here. I will give them credit. They came here and they explained specifically why this delivery charge now could be twice as much as your energy use. You can look at the pie chart on your Central Hudson app.
Yeah.
It is just unreal what is happening. So I'm going to keep bringing this up over and over again, because this needs to be discussed at the state level, and we need to be advocates for the residents that live in this town. It cannot continue to skyrocket like this. It is unsustainable.
And by the way, the day after they got their new rate increase, they applied for another one.
Yes.
Right, and that is still another rate increase.
Yes.
That is still on the docket. That hasn't hit yet.
Yes. Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. With that, I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session for the purposes of potential contract negotiation, personnel-related matters. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Casella. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Thank you very much, folks. We will be returning in public portion.